Okay, so feel the difference between letting go of your past self and letting go of a parallel self or parallel selves. Just feel the difference. Personally, I find letting go of parallel selves way easier. It's lighter, more fun. It just makes more sense to me. So I'm going to talk about why it makes more sense to me. I'm going to give you 2 reasons, and then if you like that, then I'm also going to give you a little side quest so you can like really go into it. So the first reason that I feel like it feels way easier to me is I don't have, I guess, the self-concept of that my past self sucks. So probably if you're here, you also don't have that. And so when somebody says like you should let go of your past self, or when I say it to myself, when I say it to myself, it doesn't feel right because all I can think of is all the times that my past self was awesome. And so it feels like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. There's a conflict within me. And so, I can't do anything from that place. So that's one of the reasons why, for me, letting go of parallel selves or just a parallel self feels a lot easier because that way you can be extremely specific and, like I said, you're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You can weave through parts of yourself from the past that have been amazing and keep those parts and amplify those parts and let go of, things that you maybe want to change or shift without, annihilating yourself. It doesn't seem necessary. So that's one reason why that makes more sense to me. But the second reason, like if you are like me and you're part of a lot of different conscious creation communities, like letting go of the past self or letting go of the old story, letting the old man die, that's really a lot from the law of assumption communities. It also doesn't make sense. And I'm sure you already know this, but sometimes somebody else has to say what we're already thinking so that it clicks. So even in those communities, and by the way, I love those communities. Like I love the law of assumption peeps. Like they're some of the most radical creators and I love them. But that phrase, I feel like it gets thrown around a lot in that community and I find it confusing for the first reason that I mentioned. But secondly, it doesn't actually make sense within the philosophy of that community because, when you shift a state, when you shift into a new identity, your past also shifts. The narratives from your past also change along with you. So even through that philosophy, it doesn't make sense to let go of a past self. It's not really the right wording because when you change states, your whole self, your eternal self shifts along with you. It's a full on change. So you're going to have different past memories that are going to come through when you do a shift in state. So it also just doesn't actually make sense. And maybe this might be like nitpicking to some people, but I know that for myself, it's just one of those things that when I hear it, I can end up being in like this weird loop that does not feel good to me because I'm always just like, I let go of my past self. Like, sometimes I get into this loop because there is something that I want to shift and I want to change. But saying to let go of the past self, it just doesn't really work for me. So the whole purpose of this video, the whole intention was just to share that little shift of thinking about yourself as, infinite versions of yourself with infinite parallels, and you're just letting go of a parallel self or maybe multiple parallel selves rather than breaking it up into this dualistic notion of like past self versus, I don't know, present self or future self. I guess there's a linearity and a duality to letting go of the past self, and that's what really, really doesn't resonate with me. So that might be something that you're feeling too, because I feel myself as an infinite, multifaceted, layered being. I don't really see myself, or I normally don't see myself as a linear being. And when I do accidentally do that to myself, I just find I don't feel good. I feel like it doesn't feel right, versus when I switch into my eternal self, my infinite self that is going sort of around in circles, or I like to say kaleidoscopes, like my kaleidoscope self. Oftentimes I also think of a flower where all my experiences are all around me and I'm blossoming in all the different directions, again, around. Versus when I start to think about myself as like a past self on like a linear timeline, I feel squished and I don't feel good. So that was the whole intention of sharing that, because hopefully if that's something that resonates with you, that little shift, it should make you feel like, like, oh yeah, duh, I'm an infinite being. Like, of course, being a linear being doesn't feel good to me because I want to be living in every direction. And that doesn't mean we don't want to change or shift things. But yeah, we don't want to throw everything out and annihilate everything. So if that resonates with you and you like that, if you feel what I'm talking about, if it feels like, yes, that feels like such a relief. I feel so much more open, and I personally feel more in control. It feels so good because, yeah, I'm just gonna sort of weave different parts of myself through and, you know, let go of the parts that I don't want to keep. And it just feels specific. It feels very like artistic and beautiful to me. So another sort of maybe example to add to this would be, you know, it's sort of like if you're gonna go in and edit your closet, like you don't need to throw out all of your clothing. I mean, you can, if that's where you're at, that can happen. But I know for myself, I shift in very soft, gentle ways. I don't try to push myself into like, at least not at this point. I feel kind of refined in who I am. I feel like my core essence, I know how to tap into that, and I don't want to get rid of it all. So it's kind of like, yeah, if I go into my wardrobe, I might get rid of a few things and then keep the things that I still love and that still work for me, and then maybe go out and get a few new things. And I really enjoy, and I'm like literally talking about clothes. I'm using it as a metaphor, but I do mean this like literally. I get so excited when I buy like a few new pieces, and then the exciting part is like going through my closet and seeing what it works with and what new combinations I can create with some of the old things I have that are still really, really good, that still reflect, you know, my core essence. So that's another little example. And then if this feels really good for you, then I also want to give you a little, let's call it a side quest. If you want to explore this parallel selves thing, I mean, this is not a new idea. I know lots of people talk about it, but I just wanted to bring up, like, if you're coming across that phrase of the past self, to just replace it with parallel self or parallel selves and just feel, you know, the relief and the spaciousness of that. But yeah, if you want to do a side quest and really sort of explore this in a really fun and just easygoing way, and if you like music and you want to find new music potentially, then, and I'm going to list this in the description, there is this little playlist of music videos that I want you to watch. So it's not just listening, but I want you to watch these music videos because they're by one artist and they actually make a little mini movie. And what I love about it, like I've been obsessed. I've been listening to this like over and over the last few days. First of all, such good music. But secondly, the little mini movie that it makes, it really ties into the idea of letting go of a parallel self and this idea that you have like an eternal self, an eternal essence that's always there. So you don't need to like annihilate everything. So the artist is Stela Cole. If you haven't heard of her, she's amazing. I've been listening to her for many years, but last year she released this really amazing album, and like I said, she's got a few music videos that actually make a mini movie. And so I will list this, but I'll just tell you right now. It's, if you go and check out her album, it's called IDWYB, which my guess is it stands for I Don't Want You Back, but she didn't say what it was, so it could be something completely different. But that album, or it's an EP, there's 6 songs on it. First of all, the whole thing is amazing. But if you go in and start at, say, Blood Orange Wine on that music video, and then watch it in order with the other songs on the album. So Blood Orange Wine, then watch Feel It Again, watch Die Hard, and then watch Midnight Killer. Now, technically, only 3 of these, like they're a trilogy, and then Feel It Again is technically not part of it, but the same actors in it, and I did watch it all of these 4 in a row, and for me, Feel It Again actually added a really nice layer to it. That now I have my own interpretation of these songs and what they mean to me, but that one, I mean, like I said, these songs are so good. But that song, I feel like it adds a really nice layer. And even actually Candyland, I always start with Candyland. There's only 1 song left. You might as well listen to the whole album, but anyways, I will list this down there. Bear with me. I get hyped and then I start talking too much. But if you listen to these songs in the order of the album and like watch the video, there is a really neat storyline in there, and it, to me, at least how I interpret it, it's really goes into this idea of letting go of a parallel self. And I don't want to give anything away because there is a neat story arc in the music videos. So once you watch them through, you may want to watch them again because there's a nice reveal in the last music video, and it kind of changes the meaning of everything, which is very much like when you shift states and then things look different. The same things can look different. So I highly recommend you check that out. So that's Stela Cole's album, IDWYB, and like I said, I'll list it, and let me know how this feels for you, and if you end up watching the music videos, also come back and let me know what you felt, because personally I was like blown away, and I was like, wow, this is just like the parallel selves thing I've been thinking about for so long, and I've been meaning to make this video for so long, because this topic has come up so many times with so many different people I've talked to, and I feel like the reason it's been put off so many times was because, I really wanted these music videos to go along with it so that you could go in and just observe and feel into just another creative way of exploring parallel selves and how you can use that for yourself to, I don't know, feel awesome. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for stopping by, and yeah, let me know how it feels. Let me know how it goes.